U.S., like Spectrum, AT&T, Windstream, CenturyLink, things like that. So I do whatever they do. Come to me. I'm a one-stop shop. I've been in the telecom industry in Brevard almost 20 years. So I feel like if I don't know it, I'll find somebody that does and can help. So, I'm a good resource for getting to know everything about telecom. And my new nickname, it's not new now, but thanks to Richard Martin, we came up with your Telecom Diva. So that's me, Diane Bryson, your Telecom Diva.
Awesome. I love it. And Diane is such a giver in the community. You're like Tracy at a number of events and connecting people. So thank you so much for being here today.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
today is an interesting topic, and I want to make sure we get to hear from Tracy before she goes. But today we are talking about getting to the yes, closing the deal. Many times, there's a number of people that I know that own a business, and they're like, I don't like sales. So today, we're hoping to inspire you with some ideas, ways that experiences, and how we can support you to get to a yes. And Tracy, do you mind if I put you on the spotlight for starters?
Sure. I'm happy to help. Happy to help, happy to share.
So what are some ways that you work with your clients with getting them to a yes? What are some key points for individuals at the chamber to consider when they're trying to close a transaction?
My number one strategy is that it has to be about them and it has to be beneficial to them. It can't be about me ever. It has to work for them. So that's the number one thing. Number two, they typically do most of the talking and I just ask the questions, because by asking the right questions, I can determine if what I have to offer is a fit for them. And if you go back to rule number one, if it's not a fit for them, then that's okay too, because whatever it is that you're selling, whatever widget it is, it's not going to be for everybody. There is a specific type of client that your product or service will work for and will work for well. It's your job as the business owner to ask those questions and kind of guide them and get them to share with you their ultimate pains, fears, desires, and if what it is that you have to offer actually will be of benefit for them. And then if it is a benefit, the deal will happen on its own. They'll be able to see it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard this there. I just got familiar with this a few years ago where they called it consultative selling. And it was all about asking the questions and having them really discover for themselves what was going on. Is that kind of what you're, yeah.
Yes. And by asking the right questions before you ever talk about your business, you have the answers so that when you start explaining the product or service and how it can benefit them, you've already got all the answers to paint them right into the picture where it makes sense. Where, for me, doing a sales presentation, I'm either going to get to the end of it and it's going to be, I have a new friend and we're not able to do business, or I have a new friend and the only logical thing for them to do is say, how do I pay you? Because it makes that much sense. And it's just taking the time to be able to get them to open up and feel comfortable sharing the details about their business. And if you can get them to do that and then explain how your product or service will benefit them and ease some of those pains or fears or help them accomplish something that they want to accomplish, now you've got that win-win situation.
Perfect. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just going to acknowledge Tony Castillo and Randy Mace. We've got them on Facebook Live. And we have a fan, Taylor, where she's saying, woohoo, unwrap the best you. You put in unwrapthebestyou.com. Awesome. So I'm going to share a couple of things that I have found. Obviously, the conversation is really key with asking. I love that question, like, what's your biggest challenge you're facing right now? I know that getting to know many times when we know what their pain point is and we can have those solutions, that's a great place to start. I've found, and this is often a little different angle, and I can't wait to hear from Gio, is I love the expert power bio, or having, I know that when I'm working on a transaction, one of the most challenging things to do, and I don't like doing, is talking about myself. And I think that's common across the board. And so I love sharing what I call the expert power bio, and I'll say, hey, do you mind sending me your bio? Or if I'm doing a proposal or I'm meeting with somebody, I've found that just having that where they can read a little bit about my past and the experience and what I can bring to the table really has helped. When I didn't have that, it was like a lot more effort and work, and to have that in people, to see accomplishments and what's been accomplished. I just said that twice. To see what the experience, then that's been helpful. So I know a lot of people, when they're in that struggling point, that the bio can be a place of having that, sharing that, can get more people to say yes, and sometimes even get higher paying clients. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Tracy or Gio?
I completely agree with that. I find, I don't know that it would necessarily get the yes immediately, but it definitely lends credibility to get your foot in the door where you can at least open up the conversation. I think anything that that is geared towards sharing that you have the knowledge in the background, then you can, you get in the door. It's their first yes, if you will.
Yeah, I know that mine, I send it with every proposal, and it's just, and a few testimonials too.
Absolutely.
So cool. Tracy, I know you only have 5 more minutes, and Gio, you're going to spend the last half hour on this subject, because I know you got some good stuff too. Tracy, is there anything else that you wanted to share around the sales process or getting to a yes? I know you already shared some great stuff.
I would like to say, don't get discouraged if you don't get a yes the first time. In the early stages of my sales career, I was trained that if you don't get a yes on the first call, that you probably never will. And I found that to be very uncomfortable for me, and more of a very pushy, salesy kind of approach. And my approach was always to build relationships. And so I trusted my gut that building the relationship was the best way to go, the best avenue for me. And I proved it over and over again that if somebody just isn't ready and they tell you no, that just means for today. It doesn't mean forever. And that you can circle back around at another time and another opportunity. And a lot of times when that happens, they actually end up paying you more for your product or service. I don't know why, but that is my experience. So I would say, if you don't get a yes right away, don't give up. Just put them on your list, circle back around, and be open to the friendship and the relationship.
Awesome. I don't know if you've read that book, Tracy, The 1 Minute Millionaire, The Enlightened Way to Wealth, by Robert Allen, who's written.
Yes, I have it.
And Mark Victor Hansen. Yeah, they talk about expecting 4 no's as part of their principle. They said that most people give up before they even get to the 4th one, and they found that when you get to that point, like, magic can happen.
Right, exactly. I remember doing one sales presentation, and this is years ago, and the gentleman said no, and about 3 years later, he called the office and was interested in joining the trade and barter company, and asked that I go out and or somebody come out and do a presentation. I went out, I sat on the same couch, I gave the same presentation. I actually brought my same set of notes from 3 years previous. I don't know if that's OCD that I keep that or what, but I brought the same notes, did the same presentation, and he said yes on that presentation when I went out there. And I said, you know, this is so funny. I said, I sat in the same office and did the same presentation 3 years ago. And he's like, why did I tell you no? And I said, I don't know. It just wasn't the right time. And then I pulled out my notes and stuff. And I think that in itself, that I had that, it just locked in the relationship even harder because, or stronger, because he knew that I was genuine and in it for the relationship. And but yeah, it was a funny story.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have 2 more minutes. I just want to do one more thing about the event. So Tracy, I know that, can you just share real quick how this event was inspired, as far as, I know you shared for a minute, but is there anything else you want to tell us about the event? Because as you were sharing this today, I was so excited. I was like, this is really...
So I feel like the event was divine inspiration based on my own wellness journey with type 1 diabetes a couple years ago, and just being a mom and a wife and an entrepreneur and a grandma and trying to juggle all of these things and have all these clients and everything. And it just kind of came together one day when I was riding my bike and had that moment of clarity that this was something that I needed to do. And I would like to say one more thing about the event, and that is, without some of our key sponsors, it wouldn't have been possible, because these people, again, that I had built relationships with, when I went to them and told them what was happening, they just stepped right up. So people like LH Tanner Construction, Absolutely Natural, Health First. I'm looking Wild Ocean Seafood Market. We've got a number of vendors, dermatology, plastic surgery, Clayton Construction, and these are the small guys in the community that do big things. And I'm just super honored to, that they said yes, and that this event is happening. And I'm just really excited about it. So thank you for the opportunity to share and be a part of this chamber chat. And I would love to do it again.
Yay, yeah, and thank you for all that you do for the chamber as helping us spread the good messages out of what they're doing. I know that you're a huge support marketing-wise for everything that Nancy does and the members.
Well, I've had a great experience with the chamber, and I just love Nancy. I love you, and I'm just excited to be able to be a part and do this kind of stuff.
Awesome. So
my heart feel good.
And so, do you mind? Do you have a Facebook page? Everything
Yes,
Brevard.
Yes. Everythingbrevard.com or Facebook.com/everythingbrevard.com. Facebook.com/unwrap-the-best-you. There's a page plus an event page, and you can go to unwrapthebestyu.com for ticket information and all the event details and what to expect and all of that. So hurry up and get your tickets. We have to turn in an account on Monday.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tracy, for all you do.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, Gio.
Here I am. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know that you have some incredible things to share around this topic.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's well, I mean, we all sell. We sell every single day. People say, well, I'm not really a salesperson. Yes, you are. You have to, on a daily basis, whether you have to convince your colleagues that an idea is good, whether you have to convince a VP that your idea, your project, your campaign is sound, or you've got to convince your kids that eating their vegetables is good for them. You're always selling, and it's so we inherently have skills to do this. It's the kind of whether we do it in a conscious or an unconscious way. But I find that sales is a journey with every client. You talked about the bio and presenting your bio. One of the things that I find is that when I'm getting ready to pitch a client to talk to them, to start talking, I do the research on the client, not just the business, but I do a lot of that, and that means not only looking at all of their media, everything that they have out there, but finding stories about them, and then finding out about the person that I'm going to be talking to. Try to get some insights to who they are, what they do. If they've got a Facebook page, my goodness, what a great way to I don't call it infiltrate their life, but get a handle on what they like, who they hang around with, who their friends are. What they do, what their hobby. You get all of this. I mean, the availability of information right now is huge, and it's such a help to anybody who does sales, because that sets the stage for building the relationship. And you can't stress enough that sales is really building a relationship. There has to be that level of trust between you and the person that you're going to be talking to. I mean, sales, again, usually it's a one-on-one thing. Somebody is going to make that decision, and whether that be the first person you talk to or the last, you're going to have to be able to get them to believe in not only what you're selling, but in you as a person. That you're honest, that you have a high degree of morals and ethics, that what you're presenting is true. And so that's a lot of what I work on is really the groundwork and getting to be able to get the client to see that what they're working with and what they have in front of them is genuine. And then it's all about being able to provide the value, getting to, once you can understand, and through conversations, and sometimes this can be a few conversations. I've had clients that have taken a couple of months to get through. I've had clients that took a week. It just depends on kind of where everything's at, and it doesn't have to do with whether it's a yes or a no. It's whether you can persevere and continue to keep conversation going, help them out, answer questions. A lot of times a client will have a series of questions, and the first ones don't get answered in the first conversation because they didn't think about those things. Maybe a week passes by, they're like, oh, well, what about this or what about that? And so patience is a virtue in sales. You can't discount the fact that you can't get frustrated. Stacy was talking about the no's. No is just a not right now. I have. When I was at the Chamber of Commerce, I had in fact, one still works there, and one used to work there. Both sales program and partner managers of the year nationally, because they don't take no for an answer. They were tenacious. They would, if you said no once, that didn't matter. They still would come back, and they still would come back, and they didn't wear people down, but they finally answered all their objections to the point where the person was like, well, I guess I have to. I have no other reason not to. You've answered every question. You've addressed every concern. I'm going to do that. And those two people, I would love that. They should be on this presentation today, because they would tell you exactly how it goes in the chamber world. That's a very difficult thing, because you're selling an intangible. I sell intangibles. We all kind of really do. In your work, Shannon, and mine, we don't have a widget. We don't have a product that you can say, here, hold this in your hands and experience it. You have to really be able to convey to them the story of what is going to happen when they purchase your services. And a lot of us, and a majority of us are in the service type industry, especially when you're talking chambers of commerce. We are a lot of service people. I think one of the things is value, is being able to stress the value of what you offer against your competition, against what they have been doing. You can pick a whole different variety of areas, but you want to be able to show the value of what you're going to do, and especially when you're charging by the hour, or you're putting together a plan for thousands of dollars, and again, nothing tangible that they can see. You're basically telling them this work, this time and effort that yourself and other people are going to put into a campaign or into a plan is got some value to that. And that's one of the things that I think is the hardest. I always say, and the classic term is under promise and over deliver. Say you can do things, but know that you've got other things in your pocket. I will, can honestly say that, I can go in and say, well, this and this are going to happen. These are the things that we're going to do. But I also know 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to get them more value. I'm going to be able to get them another story that I didn't tell them about. And it's not like I was hiding it. It's just that, I work with the people I know, and I work with what I have, and I create that extra value. And when you call them up and say, hey, you're getting a featured story in XYZ publication, they want to talk to you for an interview, that changes the whole relationship. So it really is. One of the things I find a lot of people want to do when they're closing a sale is keep talking. I want to keep talking. It's almost like I've said yes. All right, stop. We don't. We want to keep going. Oh yeah, okay, that's great. And that's when you get to that yes, it's really time to just be quiet. Let them say what they're going to do, and let them agree that they'll buy this package, or let them agree that they're going to have this as the start date. Don't worry. Once you get to that, I think people kind of just don't believe it when it happens. Something, especially unseasoned sales professionals, they just, oh my gosh, they say yes. What now? Nothing has to happen now. You just did your job. Congratulate yourself. Go out and have some cocktails with your friends on a Friday night and celebrate, because you just did what you were supposed to do, and you made it happen. So
awesome.
I'm full of energy today. I'll tell you what. I'd say after this morning's session, I'm like, what other stuff do I know?
I know. Well, what was interesting as you were talking, as I was thinking about how I've been able to get yeses and kind of streamline things, because I know that I'm totally into CRM systems and customer relation management. I think that really some of the, some relationships have been nurtured for years and years and years. And some relationships, like with you, Gio, it's an ongoing media relationship that you're going to have for life. So that, the customer relations management, I think, is a very big part of being able to stay on top of that. But one of the things that I found was what I call either a client intake form or an assessment or a questionnaire. And I found that when I started to ask specific big questions, and I asked them up front, first it does 2 things. Well, I think it may do 3 things. But one thing that it does is it gets them in the mindset of, gets me all the information I need to assess what's going on. So that's really big. Rather than spending a bunch of time going back and forth, I can ask very targeted questions of what I need, so that when we do talk, it can be very specific. And so that's one thing. The other thing that it does is these questions, many times, if they're shopping around and looking at other people, you wouldn't believe how many times they've said, oh my gosh, you were so thorough, or I didn't even think of that. And I have to tell you, when I was in real estate a while ago and going up against, some big names here, I would go into a house and I would talk about their R rating and their ceiling and their windows and all of this green stuff and energy efficient things and things that a lot of people take pride in and look at, but most agents would go in and just, okay, we got your fridge, we got all this stuff. So it was those big questions up front that let people know, wow, she's really cares and she's very thorough. So I found these intake forms, and they can be used across any industry. Any industry, it's, you know, some sort of questionnaire has been one of the greatest resources I've had to help me get to a yes and do it in a very timely way, because they see I've taken time and can get, you know, get that information. Any comments or questions on that, Gio?
No, that's an ideal way to really get things started, because yeah, again, it's your research. You're doing your due diligence, and I think what happens is a lot of people, you know, people who are being sold to get, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 salespeople trying to sell them essentially the same thing, and the one who has taken the time and again has actually endeavored to build that relationship, to get to know the client. So they're not just walking in and going, hey, I got the greatest product in the world. It does this, this, and this, and it's perfect for you. No, it's not. Maybe another product you have is perfect for them, but you didn't take the time to find out exactly what it was that they needed. And so I see that as critical. Yeah. You know, and you know, you mentioned that the CRMs and the customer relationship management. I mean, essentially what we've done is we've taken traditional sales and moved it into the digital age in the terms of a funnel, because that's exactly, you know, the way selling happens is the way these funnels are set up. It's create awareness, create interest, create the contact, present the facts, the features and benefits, turn them into a client, turn them into a raving fan, turn them into a repeat customer, and keep that relationship cycle going. You know, we've actually automated a lot of it now and taken the salespeople out. I was talking to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and they said, well, isn't, you know, person-to-person sales pretty much gone away now because it's all automated? You can do everything online. I said, you know, yes, in some things. I mean, yeah, go on Amazon and you want to buy something, you buy it. You know, you want to get, you want to get a hard good that you basically understand. You can do your research. You can go find it without a salesperson. But when you're talking about the big things, when you're talking about everything from life insurance to, you know, $1 million pieces of equipment to, you know, those things that are going to be medical and health and all those, you really still, there are people involved. And like I said, at the end, somebody always makes the decision. They sign their name on the line. It's not a robot. It's not a machine. You know, the only place that really takes place is on the stock market, where things are bought and sold, you know, through computers. But other than that, you're still looking at a person to person. But you have to understand how that funnel works. And I think everybody would be good, if you do sales, is to go look at something like a HubSpot and see how their funnel is set up, because that's exactly how your sales process is going to work, and getting them to yes. And you know, sometimes it's when you're doing this, you know, I've got we talk about the assumptive sale, the assumptive close, which is really people go, well, you know, let's get started. Hey, when would you like me to start this? Blah blah blah. Not the best way to do this. Asking for the sale is actually the best way to come out very clearly, to get them to say yes. You know, it's like, hey, is there any reason, if we gave you the product at this price and we could deliver it on this date, any reason you wouldn't be doing business with us? That's right up there. We ask for the sale. There's a great program called Ask for the Sale. You know, if we could find a way to do the deal with this thing that you had your objection with, would you sign the contract today? You know, if we add this, if this piece, if we were able to include this along with our package, is that something that you would be, you know, that you would say yes to? And get them to say yes. You know, they're in their minds, they know when they're going to buy. Sometimes you just have to get them to say that. and you have to know when. You know, you got to know when that iron is hot and when to strike it. So
that's awesome. I'm so glad that you talked about asking those questions, because it is I find that it's sometimes can be, hi, Lisa and Tony and Cheryl. We have a bunch of Cheryl Fryer. It is important to ask those questions of what do you need to know? Is there anything else you need to know to have you feel comfortable to say yes? Or it's being okay with asking those very direct questions so that you can solve what's going on. I wanted to share another thing, Gio and Diane and everybody that's watching us, that I found a lot of people, at least at the Business Acceleration Summit that I've seen, where they're like, oh, I'm not getting people to say yes. And they don't have an order form. They don't have their sponsor deck together. They don't have their pitch deck together. They don't have a place to go and buy. It's like that basic task can make the biggest difference. It's like there's so many nonprofits I've met where I'm trying to raise money and I say, let me see your sponsor package, and they don't have it together. So it's being ready and being clear so that people know what it is that they're getting, that you can showcase. Do you see that too, Gio?
I do. I see people being unprepared, and something else, and if I can, because this hit me just before we started talking, and I really wanted to make sure I hit on it today, is it has to do more with your own personal mindset and your belief. You and I both really work on a level of gratitude, expectation, abundance, those kind of things. And in Bob Proctor's book, Think and Grow Rich, and if you go to The Science of Getting Rich, and these books, which all talk about, if you see it, you can believe it, or if you believe it, you can see it, and expecting that you will make the sale. Because I will tell you from personal experience, I know this, and we've talked about this before. If I have gone in or conducted the process without the belief in myself that I was going to get that sale, it comes across. It's not said, it's not implied, it's felt. And people can feel that. They feel that energy. It's not, you're not showing, you're not out there, and you're not attractive. You're not attractive in a sense of, oh man, I'm really feeling it from this person, because that person, me, didn't have the faith or the confidence in myself. And so I was more like, here I am, and if you'd like it, I'd be happy to do it. Whereas when I go in with the, man, this is going to happen today, it's going to happen, it's going down. When I do that, things change. Things change because I expect the good. I believe that it's going to happen. I see it in my mind. I get rid of the negative thoughts. I think nothing but good. I expect good. And that does a world of difference to you as a person, and it will do the same thing for your sales. And Bob Proctor talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. There's several stories he tells about his people, the people he's trained, and the things that he has instilled in them, and the results that came from it. And I look at that, and I mean, I've had days where I just go, man, it is going to happen. And I pulled up an email the other day. I woke up that morning, I said, this is going to be a great day, and I'm going to nail it. I'm going to have this. I open up the email. This is from somebody I haven't seen in a while. We've been kind of back and forth. Gio, we really need some help. We're getting a bunch of things going on. We are a great company. We know what we do. We don't know how to do PR. We don't know how to write a press release. We don't know how to do a thing. Can you help us? Like, I laughed out loud. If the neighborhood could have heard me, I would have had the sirens coming to my house, taking me away, because it was just one of those, you've got to be kidding. But I expected it. I believed it. So.
Awesome. And I'm going to add one more thing to that, which the Science of Getting Rich Academy really has helped me, because sometimes it's like you can expect it, but it may not show up right away or when you want it. And so it's looking for what they call evidence. And, oh, the phone rang today. Oh, you got an email, and really acknowledging and celebrating those small movements towards what you want.
Yes.
Instead of focusing on, oh, but they didn't buy now, or that, you know, I mean, our brain has two options. It can either go in what went wrong, or that angle, or wow, this is, you know, I'm getting closer, and that expectation. So looking for evidence has been really a lot of fun, and acknowledging it, because it, my brain it does want to go the other way. You know, it does want to, oh, this didn't work, or, you know, so it's really retraining it, as you mentioned.
It's natural. It's natural we have conditioned ourselves over the years, from when our parents started raising us, to look for the dangerous, the fearful, the bad, the worst case scenarios. And instead of doing that, just like you said, you know, it's like, oh, they didn't say yes, but they called, you know, and it's like, so get rid of the stuff that, you know, don't even think that way. Think about the good, be grateful. You know, it's one of the things that I do every day now is I spend quality time reading these books of inspiration that help me. And I've read them over and over again, but I keep rereading them to the point where I'm almost, you know, I can repeat them. But at the same time, you know, when I get up and I'm doing my notes in the morning and going through everything, or at the end of the day, I write down gratitudes. You know, what was good that happened today? You know, today is going to be one that I'm just going to fill a page today, because I mean, I had a chance to teach and interact and to help, and you know, I'm going to a meeting to work with my high school students tonight for a big event they're doing in March, something I do every couple of years. So, I mean, today it's a giving day, but I'm so grateful that I've got that knowledge and experience and the desire and the ability to do it. So,
So as we're getting to the top of the hour, I just wanted to point out one thing that's coming up for me, and that is I love, like right now I just started a new program in a club, and as I'm sharing with people, and as you said, Gio, kind of looking at who's ideal, I'm sharing it and I'm asking the question, do you know anybody that might be a good fit? Who do you know that might be interested in this? And that direct conversation and that ask has been incredible. I've had a number of them say, well, I'm interested, you know, or I'm interested and I know someone. So really being direct in asking for that, who do you know? So some people may not, you know, I guess it's a little more, it's a gentler way of, hey, I could go, hey, Gio, you should do this program. This is how much it is. Here's what's involved. That would be more direct. This is more of sharing of what it has, and then asking, hey, who do you know that might be interested in this? And it's been very effective.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I always say leave dancing to the ballroom floor. You know, that's where you dance, where you the rest of the time, and especially when you're interacting with people, don't dance around, man. It takes too long, because you got to tell stories on top of stories and you get diverted. But do that. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Would you be interested, or would you know somebody who is? Boom, there you go. You've closed the circle. You've made it very clear that you've got it's not an agenda, but you've got a goal. This was the
focus. Yeah.
Yeah, focused conversation.
Yes. So Diane, let's hear from you. How is this landing for you? Any comments, questions? Go ahead, just for the video and Facebook. We got some questions in the chat room too. If you could just say the name of your company or a website and how they could find you.
Unmute her.
Oh, unmute you? While you're unmuting, hold on. Antonio Castillo says, evidence is out there. Yes, it is, Tony. It's everywhere. I ask, what would it take for you to say yes? That is a powerful question. This is from Lisa Montgomery. She does the luxury fishing tours and trips. And thank you, Lisa. That is a great question. What would it take for you to say yes? All right, Diane, I'm going to unmute you.
You want me to answer that question for me, or what?
No, we're at the top of the hour, so I always.
No, sure. Like I said before, I'm Diane Bryson with True Choice Technology, and I am your Telecom Diva. So anything that's telecom related, if I don't know the answer, or I have good resources to help people accomplish what they need in the telecom world. So that's my biggest thing, is building relationships with people that I can depend on to help other people, because I don't know everything and I don't want to say something, and fake my way through it. I want to be able to bring the resources in, and that's what I'm good about doing. I mean, I had somebody the other day. She's like, "Well, what do you get out of this?" I'm like, I just want to bring the right people that can help you get this. Don't worry about me. I'll get paid. So, and that's what I'm all about. I've been doing it for so long, and they don't always say yes the first time that you wish. That would be a good problem to have, right? But until they absolutely say no, you just keep on, every now and then, every month or whatever, you just touch base with them again through an email or a phone call or something, just to keep your name in front of those people. And that's what I do with my constant contact. I mean, I've had people say, "Oh, I almost forgot about you. Thank God you sent me that message." Yeah. And it was just probably not even anything about what I do, but it was just something. I mean, I did something on Groundhog's Day. I mean, that has nothing to do with telecom, but my name is out there, and people think of me, and that's what I want them to do. Is this when they need something like that, they think of me.
Awesome, beautiful. Thank you. That consistency. Okay, so it is almost 3 o'clock. Gio, I'm going to have you take us home, but I'm going to do one more announcement. Our next chamber chat is going to be on March the 20th at 2 p.m. You can sign up at greaterpalmbaychamberofcommerce.com and join us on the video, just like Diane. Thank you, Diane, for joining us. It's a great opportunity for you to be showcased. This is going to go up on YouTube. It's on Facebook Live. We've had a lot of activity on Facebook Live. Thank you. But really, this is the Chamber's community. Part of why we've brought this together is to stay connected, share resources, and pick topics that hopefully are really helpful. So if you're watching this on the Facebook Live, would love to hear what your takeaway was from this, and or like Lisa said, any ideas that you have for taking it to the close. Because again, Gio and Tracy and all of us have incredible ideas and things that we do to get sales, but I've found that collectively, oh my goodness, there is way more we can accomplish together. So Gio, I'm giving you a big hug right now because I called Gio like an hour before this and I said, "Hey Gio, I don't want to be sitting alone after Tracy has to go. Will you please come join me?" And so Gio, thank you for being here, and you contributed some great stuff. And now I'm going to turn it over to you to take us home with any closing remarks.
It's almost like I need a theme song, It's like, hey, it's background. Now, work collaboratively, don't work competitively. Understand the value that you, your products, your services, your company brings to the table. Always treat every customer like they were your best friend. Get to know them, be honest, be genuine. Expect good, no regrets, live fast, have a happy life. Man, life is way too short. Just enjoy it. It's going to treat you well.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next month and at a chamber event. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.